Hey Steelers Nation! Welcome back to the channel. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on fire with their fourth consecutive win, edging out the Washington Commanders in an intense Week 10 matchup. But it's not all good news. As much as we're here to celebrate the victory, we've also got to discuss some worrying updates, especially surrounding one of our defensive stars, Alex Highsmith. If you love content like this, hit that like button and subscribe to stay up to date with everything Steelers. Now, let's dive into the details. Steelers fans, what a nail-biter this game was. The final score, 28-27, doesn't even capture all the twists and turns of this matchup. In a back-and-forth battle, the Steelers managed to pull through with Russell Wilson delivering a clutch 32-yard touchdown pass to our recent trade acquisition, Mike Williams. This touchdown sealed the win for Pittsburgh, snapping the Commanders' three-game winning streak and continuing our momentum. In the closing moments, Washington had one last chance to make a play. They lined up for a 4th-and-1, needing to move the chains to stay alive. But in a thrilling defensive stand, we managed to force a neutral zone infraction, causing Washington to jump, which effectively gave us control and, ultimately, the victory. It's those small, crucial plays that have defined Pittsburgh's defense this season and brought us success in tight situations. Let's talk about Russell Wilson. While this performance wasn't as smooth as some of his previous starts for Pittsburgh, Wilson proved why he's a game-changer. He finished the game with 3 touchdown passes on 14 of 28 attempts for 195 yards, showing remarkable resilience against a solid Washington defense. Wilson found George Pickens for one of those spectacular grabs that have come to define Pickens' young career. Pickens and Wilson continue to develop a chemistry that's creating big plays, even in close games. The arrival of Mike Williams also adds another layer to the offense, giving Wilson more options and creating headaches for opposing secondaries. And while we had some ups and downs throughout, Wilson's ability to deliver in clutch moments really kept us in the game and ultimately brought us the win. Our defense stepped up in a major way. Washington's offense, one of the league's best, was held to just 242 total yards and a mere 60 rushing yards. Jayden Daniels, Washington's rookie quarterback, has been red-hot this season, but our defensive squad managed to keep him in check, holding him to only 202 passing yards and an efficiency rate well below his usual numbers. This was just the third game this season that the Steelers' defense allowed more than 20 points, showcasing once again the resilience and effectiveness of this unit. This season, our defense has been known for stepping up when it matters most. The defensive front, led by T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, has made it difficult for any team to establish a rhythm. But unfortunately, this is where we shift into the more concerning news: Highsmith's injury. Here's where things get a bit worrisome. Alex Highsmith, one of the standout players on our defense, was seen using crutches in the locker room after the game. Late in the fourth quarter, on Washington's final drive, Highsmith was chasing Jayden Daniels when he awkwardly twisted his ankle. He went down and didn't put any weight on the injured ankle as he was helped off the field. This isn't Highsmith's first setback this season. He previously dealt with a groin injury in Week 3 against the Chargers, which kept him sidelined for 3 games. Highsmith has been a key player alongside T.J. Watt, forming one of the most feared pass-rushing duos in the league. According to Pro Football Focus, Highsmith has already tallied 25 total pressures, including 3 sacks and 8 quarterback hits this season, which shows how valuable he is to our defensive lineup. While we don't have a confirmed timeline for his return, this injury could be a setback as the Steelers enter the toughest part of the season. Highsmith's availability in the upcoming weeks will be crucial as we face a 4-game stretch against division rivals and playoff contenders. Steelers fans everywhere are hoping that he makes a swift recovery and gets back on the field soon. If Highsmith misses any games, the Steelers' defense will be tested like never before. The unit is already dealing with wear and tear, and Highsmith's presence is invaluable in keeping our pressure on opposing quarterbacks consistent. Highsmith and Watt's ability to disrupt the backfield has been instrumental in our 4-game win streak, and losing Highsmith, even temporarily, could be significant. In Highsmith's absence earlier this season, Preston Smith stepped up to fill the void. Smith brings experience, though he lacks the explosiveness and speed that Highsmith offers. The Steelers may rely on him again, along with some creative scheming from our defensive coaches, to maintain pressure on the edge. We'll also need players like Cam Hayward and Minkah Fitzpatrick to keep up the pressure and make key stops as we face high-powered offenses. The win over Washington is more than just another victory, it's a stepping stone in what's set to be a challenging second half of the season. Steelers Nation, you know that every win counts in this division, especially with 6 of our final 8 games against division opponents. With each game, the stakes are rising, and the race for the playoffs is heating up. Having Wilson, Pickens, Williams, and a capable defense gives us the tools to compete, but it'll require a full team effort to keep this winning momentum. The Steelers have made significant strides this season, adapting to injuries and roster changes, but we'll need every player healthy and performing at their best. While our offense has added weapons and our defense has remained a solid foundation, injuries like Highsmith's could test our depth and resilience. Starting the game with a 28-27 win is always satisfying, but it didn't come easy. Coach Tomlin made some gutsy calls that had fans on the edge of their seats. Right from the get-go, Tomlin went against the grain by choosing to receive the opening kick instead of deferring to the second half, a tactic that most teams prefer. This unorthodox move allowed Washington to get possession not only at the end of the first half but also at the start of the second. And guess what? The Commanders capitalized on both possessions, scoring 14 points in a row, which played a huge role in swinging the momentum their way. Tomlin didn't shy away from his decisions. In his post-game press conference, he openly took the blame, saying, "From a tactical standpoint, I was really aggressive today. It didn't always serve us well. We took the ball to start the game, and we didn't do anything with it. That probably positioned them to bookend the half the way that they did. They got the last possession of the first half and the first possession of the second half, and I thought those 14 points really changed the texture of the game." In other words, he knows this choice created an opening for Washington, but that kind of self-awareness and accountability is what makes Tomlin such a respected coach. Still, Steelers Nation, you have to wonder, was this aggressive strategy the right call? Now, let's talk about the play that had everyone talking, the fake punt. About halfway through the first quarter, the Steelers had a narrow 7-0 lead and were facing a 4th and 15 from their own 16-yard line. With James Pierre uncovered as a gunner, Tomlin made the call to attempt a risky fake. Miles Killebrew took the snap and passed to Pierre, but Pierre couldn't secure the catch. This drop turned into a costly mistake. Washington got the ball on a short field and didn't hesitate to capitalize, scoring in just 3 plays to tie the game up. Tomlin once again took full responsibility, acknowledging that he'd make the same decision if given another chance. "Same thing on the fake punt, that's me, I own that," Tomlin said. "I'd do it again, but we didn't execute it, so it was a bad idea." This quote speaks volumes about Tomlin's coaching philosophy. He believes in trusting his players and staying aggressive, even if it means taking risks. And let's be real, if Pierre had held on to that ball, we'd be celebrating an incredible play call instead of analyzing a miss. The Commanders didn't waste the opportunities handed to them. After that short field from the failed fake punt, they tied the game, and by the time the Steelers headed into halftime, they found themselves trailing 17-14. Things didn't get better immediately after the break, as Washington scored again on their first possession of the second half, extending their lead to 24-14. It's that double-score threat, before and after the half, that most teams aim to avoid by deferring the opening kick. And for the Steelers, it highlighted the downside of Tomlin's aggressive approach. But let's give credit where it's due. The team didn't fold under pressure. The Steelers rallied back, thanks to some timely throws from Russell Wilson and a defense that tightened up just when we needed it most. As if the game wasn't tense enough, Tomlin's aggressive mindset carried over into the closing minutes. Pittsburgh had the ball with just over a minute left, facing a 4th-and-1. Failing to convert here would have given Washington prime field position to set up a game-winning field goal. The stakes were high, but Tomlin was unfazed. Russell Wilson lined up, ready to make a play, but instead of snapping the ball, he used a hard count to try and draw the Commanders offside. And it worked. The hard count forced Washington into a neutral zone infraction, giving the Steelers a fresh set of downs and allowing them to run down the clock for the win. When asked if he would have really gone for it on 4th down, Tomlin, with his trademark wit, simply replied, "We'll never know, will we? You know I'm a degenerate." Tomlin's response is classic, right? Steelers fans know his willingness to go all in for a win, even if it means taking some heat along the way. And while this decision could have backfired, it highlights just how much Tomlin trusts his team to execute under pressure. With each win, Tomlin strengthens his case for Coach of the Year. But make no mistake, had the Steelers lost this game, some would have been quick to criticize these same decisions. He's always been known for his fearless play calling, but this year especially, we've seen him take risks that could either make or break his reputation. This willingness to stay aggressive has paid off for the Steelers so far, and with the team sitting comfortably above .500, it's hard to argue with the results. Every coach has a unique style, but Tomlin's high-stakes approach is undoubtedly one of the most entertaining, and nerve-wracking, for fans to watch. Steelers Nation, we're in the thick of it now. With a 28-27 victory over Washington, Pittsburgh is positioned to make a serious push as the season heads into the second half. The Steelers have one of the toughest remaining schedules in the NFL, so every win counts, especially in close games like this one. Tomlin's bold strategies and Russell Wilson's clutch plays will be tested further as we move forward. The Steelers will need this combination of aggressive decision-making, solid defense, and timely offense to continue if they hope to maintain this momentum. And with 6 of our final 8 games against division opponents, every game becomes a playoff-like atmosphere. Alright, Steelers Nation, now it's your turn to weigh in. How do you feel about Highsmith's injury and the impact it might have on our defense? Can Preston Smith and our defensive lineup keep the pressure on as we head into this tough stretch? And how about Russell Wilson and the offense? Do you think they can continue to deliver in these clutch moments? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And remember, if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed for all things Steelers. Thanks for tuning in, and here's to hoping for a speedy recovery for Highsmith and another big win next week. Let's go, Steelers!